Hey Dragon Slayers! Today's video is about the early treatment for diabetics, part 3. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out. Let's get started. So the Allen diet became standard treatment in many academic medical centers and is widely acknowledged to have saved the lives of hundreds or thousands of patients by allowing them to live long enough to herald the development of insulin injections. Joslin, the first American doctor to specialize in diabetes, and likely the most famous diabetologist in history, founded the world-famous Joslin Diabetes Center in Boston and wrote the authoritative textbook, The Treatment of Diabetes Mellitus, which is still in publication to this day. He found that Allen's treatments brought significant, almost miraculous improvements in some of his patients, and wrote in 1916 that temporary periods of undernutrition are helpful in the treatment of diabetes and will probably be acknowledged by all after these 2 years of experience with fasting. In 1921, Frederick, Banting, and John Macleod discovered insulin at the University of Toronto. There was widespread euphoria in the belief that diabetes had finally been cured, and all interest in dietary treatments was effectively terminated. But unfortunately, the story of diabetes does not end there. It was only a false spring. While insulin rescued type 1 diabetics from the brink of death, it did little to improve the overall condition of type 2 diabetics. Luckily, in the early 20th century, type 2 diabetes was still a rare disease, and so was obesity. However, by the late 1970s, the rate of obesity had started its relentless march upwards. 10 years later, type 2 diabetes started its own increase. Over the past 30 years, the rate of type 2 diabetes has increased significantly in both genders, in every age group, in every racial and ethnic group, and at all education levels. It is attacking younger and younger patients. Pediatric diabetic clinics, once the sole domain of type 1 diabetics, are now overrun with an epidemic of type 2 diabetes, often in obese adolescents. Despite the explosion of medical advances and knowledge since the 1800s, ironically, diabetes is an even bigger problem today than it was then. In the 19th century and before, diabetes was a rare, though frequently fatal, disease. Fast forward to 2016, and there are more Americans with prediabetes and diabetes than without in 2012. 14.3% of American adults had diabetes, and 38% had prediabetes, for a total of 52.3%. Diabetes is increasing in every corner of the world. Almost all these patients are overweight and will suffer complications related to their diabetes. It's one of the world's oldest diseases, but where the incidence of most other diseases has improved over time with advancing medical knowledge, diabetes is getting worse, to the point that we now have a worldwide epidemic. But why? Why are we powerless to stop the spread of type 2 diabetes? Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out. And remember, guys, that together, you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon.